Good morning. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for the invitation. This is my third time around with the students of the program. I'm loving. I'm not a speaker, I'm not a professor, so this situation freaks me out, but that's what I love the most about it. When I spoke to Professor Mitsuyagi and Janine like 4 days ago, and when I was thinking about what to speak to you about, guys, I thought about this topic and about this title, how to assess brand value using web analytics. But at the very first second after I clicked send, I said, man, what have you done? How are you gonna pull this up? So I'm gonna do my best. It's kind of dense, a lot of number crunching, but I'm gonna try to make it easier. Okay. About me. Okay. I've been in marketing for, this is not supposed to go by itself, but it's okay. I've been in marketing for 25 years, focused on digital ecosystem optimization and performance for the last 15. That's a very mouthful term. I'm going to go a little bit into that one, into that thing later, so you see it's not that complicated. I've been a corporate employee, an entrepreneur, and back to be corporate employee. So that's why I transitioned back to a corporate employee. That would be material for some other presentation. Right now, I am. But the good thing about having been corporate as an entrepreneur is I had the chance, as Janine mentioned, to work with from the super small businesses like mom and pop shops, startups, all the way up to companies like General Motors, MasterCard, Pizza Hut, and LATAM Airlines. Right now, I'm the Chief Digital Officer for McCann. I sit here in Miami, and I am responsible for most of the performance strategies for our clients in Latin America. I am a father of those two little angels on the left of the screen, the 6-year-old twins, married to the beautiful woman in the middle, sitting somewhere out there, right there. Also, in case you haven't noticed, I have a little bit of an accent. I was born in the US, but I was raised in Venezuela. Go Venezuela! I want to say Maduro, but I'm not going to say it. But that's kind of my journey up to this point. I'm going to make a survey the room really quick. How many of you work in digital marketing on a daily basis? Okay. Awesome. Great. How many of you are business owners? Okay. How many of you are corporate employees? Corporate employees. How many of you work for an advertising agency or digital marketing agency? Awesome. Now, so we should be okay. Okay. I've been in this field for a long time, and I'm still looking at business owners and even marketers to think that making online conversions is an easy thing. So it's like if they put up an ad, people's going to magically go click on the ad, go to the website, and then going to convert. That's absolutely not the way it happens. So my point with this presentation is to make it clear on how building a brand is the only way to make that happen. Because if you say, I'm going to make my point. So I'm going to take, I usually try to take marketers and business owners from Wonderland all the way to the tough reality. This is what people expect. They say that there's some guy that just started playing golf, and this is searching for best golf club for beginners. He's going to they expect the customer the buyer to click on that keyword. Then they're going to see an ad. They're going to scroll left. They're going to see their ad. They're going to click on their ad. They're going to go to the mobile landing page where the product page is, and they're going to add the product to the cart, and then they're going to check out. So that can happen, but there's some metrics behind this. So the tough reality, the reality is much uglier than what. I'm not going to spoil season 8 for anybody, don't worry. But the reality is much uglier than the wonderland that they think they are in. First, for instance, for the best golf clubs for beginners, okay, there's 16,000 monthly searches for that particular interest, golf club for beginners and similar keywords. That particular ad on the shopping slider gets an average of 0.74% click-through rate. That's the number that's hidden right there. That equals to 124 clicks that at an average cost per click of $1.19 per click. They have a total cost of $148. They have a bounce rate of 65% on average because it's like the average bounce rate for mobile branded mobile product pages. 82 of those clicks drop. 43 sessions go through. Now, at a conversion rate of 2.50%, we have on average, we will have a 1.1 conversions, 1.1 orders. So the cost per order that you don't get to see it there is minus, do you see it? Okay, minus 50, I'm sorry, the conversion rate for that particular transaction is $139. So that's the cost of dividing the money you invested by the total transactions that you got. So 1.48 divided by 1.1, that gives you $139 per transaction. So what are the economics behind this? The retail price is $249. The average retail margin for golf equipment is 31%. So the gross margin is $77. And when you take away the cost per order from the gross margin, you get a marginal contribution of $58. So the ROI of this particular stream of revenue will be negative. And that's a reality for most new businesses that don't have a brand, that they haven't built yet that big set of brand awareness, consideration, and preference. So this is the scenario that marketers with a new product and new companies are facing. So, but there's hope, right? I'm gonna show a different journey. That was the generic journey. That was this beginner golf player that didn't know much about about golf brands. But this is a different type of journey. Of course, we need to drive in sales overnight because the revenue that we get from sales is what's going to finance the operation. But the thing is that we learn very quickly that sales are far different from profits. So that's completely different things. So to make the profits, you need, of course, to drive in sales overnight, but you need to make sure you are building a brand over time because that's what's going to make the business sustainable. That's what's going to bring profits in. Okay, this is the other journey I was talking about. This other persona goes online and looks and searches for Callaway Strata, which is the most basic set of golf club for that particular beginner segment. He's going to click on that set of keywords with the brand has 3,600 searches a month. That has the organic result for that brand, which is a popular brand, has a click-through rate of 14%, not the 0.74% that we saw. Now it had 14%. The cost per click, and I don't know what's hitting, is 36 cents instead of the $1.19. And they have much more amount of clicks, 504 clicks, total cost for that stream of $182. For this is what happened then. Since it is a branded search and this, you know what you're buying, the bounce rate is much lower, 28%. The amount of sessions that they actually go through is a lot higher. The conversion rate is also almost 3 times. This is our average for branded journeys versus generic journeys. The conversion rate is 3 times higher. Then you can, so much more orders, 27 orders, and then you get a cost per order of $6.70. As compared to the $139 on the other exercise, that's a huge difference. What are the economics behind this? Again, $248.9 the retail price, the margin, 77, the same gross margin, but now instead of $139 per transaction, we have $6.7 per transaction. That's a marginal contribution of $70. That's an ROI of 1,049%. Okay, what's the ideal scenario? Of course, that you can, if you are the newer the company, the different companies, different strategy have a different mix of what group of what stream they are going to invest in. But the thing is, you have to keep in mind that the difference between a branded journey and a generic journey, that's almost 1,300 points in difference. So this is like a summary of what I just said. For the generic, for the best golf club for beginners versus Callaway Strata. For generic, there's 18 advertisers. For the Callaway Strata, there's only 2 advertisers. The cost per click on the left side is 1.19. The cost per click on the other side is $0.36. Bounce rate, 65 versus 28%. Conversion rate, 2.5 versus 7.5. And the ROI, minus 255 versus 1,000. So this is like the economics behind generic and branded traffic. How does this look, and why I said that we would use web analytics to come up with a proxy to the brand value. This is Nike.com. They get 60 million visits per month. So their unbranded traffic, the people that gets there because they are shopping for running shoes, sporting apparels, and unbranded other interest, it accounts for 70% of their traffic. This is real data. The source, didn't put the source down there, but it's similar web. 70% of the traffic, that comes from generic SEO, generic paid search, social media, display advertising, and affiliate marketing. That accounts for 70% of the traffic. But, and 46% bounce rate for that stream of traffic. That's what I'm going to call from now on for effects of the presentation, or that's the way I usually call it, is unbranded traffic. The other chunk of the traffic, the biggest chunk in this case, is the branded traffic, which accounts for 83% of the traffic. That's direct traffic. Direct traffic is when you go to the navigation bar and type www.nike.com. Branded SEO, keywords containing the brand Nike. Branded paid search, you have to defend the purchase intention, because otherwise it could be the competition, or it could be retailers trying to intercept your purchase intention, and you're not sure that the incentive to the retailer, even though they are advertising Nike products, their biggest intention is to sell Nike products. So you have to try to make sure that you retain that or defend that purchase intention. And of course, your email list based on the past customers, on however you build that database of contacts. This is one example of a very mature brand, Nike.com. This is a different example of a newer brand. I never heard of them before last night. So these people manufacture and sell orthopedic shoes. I don't know how I got into them, but it was very interesting. Okay, they get 522,000 visits per month as compared to the 60 million visits that Nike gets. But the biggest chunk of the traffic is coming from the unbranded sources, from generic SEO, generic paid search, social display, and affiliates. And the smaller portion from branded traffic, again, direct, branded SEO, branded search, and email marketing. Look again at the difference between the bounce rates. Even though the unbranded bounce rate for them is lower than Nike, and but the difference still huge, 10 points difference between one bounce rate and the other bounce rate. So again, one super mature brand, super popular brand with a brand awareness has been built over centuries with infinite money behind it, and this newer brand. But is it a good mix or a good balance between the two types of traffic? Well, it depends, again, depends on the strategy. For instance, this is the evolution of the traffic for this player, Kuro Footwear. You see that even though the portion or the mix between branded and unbranded hasn't improved that much, the brand traffic is growing because they're still building, because they're still investing on the unbranded portion, because that is where you build the brand. Okay, so that you see that the effect on the brand initiative is working because it's consistently growing at a rate of 5%, but still investing in the unbranded portion to bring traffic and to raise awareness. Okay, now I'm going to get into the oversimplified proxy, because I'm not nearly trying to make this a formula. Okay, this is just to make an estimation that can help you guys make sure that your brand KPIs are moving in the right direction. Because otherwise, if you don't measure, I'm going to go into cliches, but you have to measure to know where you're going. So how does it work? Let's say you have the branded traffic, the portion of the traffic that we define as direct, branded SEO, branded SEM, and email marketing, because those are the traffic that's going to be harder to intercept, and it's going to have the highest conversion rate, the lowest bounce rate. So you take that portion of the brand, and you take those sessions and you multiply it by the average cost per click of the generic keyword. How much you would have to pay to bring in those people that didn't know you before. And then you multiply that for a growth factor that I used, the one they have right now, which is 5%. So 198 sessions, monthly sessions in average, times $1.47 per click for the orthopedic shoes generic group, times the 5% rate of growth. That gives you that this brand has a brand value of $1.7 million. So again, what this number tells you could be an index, it could be a number in money, but what it tells you is that the metrics are moving in the right direction. The branded sections are growing in absolute terms. The cost per click is being efficient, and the growth rate is positive. What I usually try to do is to bring the conversation from the esoteric, abstract stuff to money, because that's what everybody in the company speaks. So if you bring the conversation to money, everybody speaks the same language. So you don't have to be talking about creativity, super high level, requiring for the rest of the team in the company, the executive team, to abstract from what their paradigm and try to meet you in the magic quadrant of Michael's formula. So I try to take all the conversations down to money, because that's the universal language. Okay, of course you can build brand awareness by putting a TV commercial on the Super Bowl, or having any type of mass. I hate this guy. You can try to invest on mass media to try to grow the chunk of branded traffic. That works, but for that you have to have a lot of budget, you have a lot of patience, you have to be willing to wait a lot of time to get there. So back to my point, to grow this portion of the ecosystem. I forgot to tell you, I told you I was going to tell you what an ecosystem is. This is a simplified version of an ecosystem. So what are the elements within the inventory of assets that you have that you can use to align it with the actual demand and make the marketing investment perform better? What I've been doing differently for the most of the time is that I don't focus the optimization just on media planning and media buying, but also in all the factors that makes that media investment perform better. You have to get down into user experience, brand experience, relevancy, quality, content quality. because just through media buying is not going to do it. Okay, so to grow the bottom portion of the traffic, you have to invest in the upper portion of the traffic. That only through reaching or maximizing your reach on those in-market shoppers that don't know your brand is the way you're going to eventually push them down to the branded stream. Okay, so what's the path from generic to branded? So this is like the average marketing funnel. From the upper funnel, why do I need orthopedic shoes? Still remember the company that I discovered yesterday? Why do I need orthopedic shoes? The mid funnel would be, why should I buy Kuru brand? And the lowest or the bottom of the funnel would be, why should I buy it right now, right? So based on that, then you align your channel with like generic SEO, support them with generic page search, maybe a blog explaining the benefits of using orthopedic shoes. Then you follow up with social media, probably custom audiences, remarketing. Then you use affiliate to keep up building the brand awareness and the affinity. Is affinity a word, or I made it up? It's a word? Yeah. Okay, good. Building up the affinity between the influencers, probably influencers, and your audience, and then lastly, the remarketing or retargeting display campaign to make sure that you are building up that frequency. Because if you don't combine reach and frequency in the same way it has been over the last 1,000 years, you're not going to go anywhere. You still have to think in terms, it doesn't matter how digital it is, but you still have to think in terms of reach and frequency to build a brand, remember. So what you should never do is try to build this bottom up, because if you start trying to invest at the bottom of the funnel, well, why should I buy now? Trying to intercept people that has already made their minds about other brands that they met down the process, you're going to have to make such an enormous promotional effort that it's going to erode your margins. It's going to go the ROI is going to go the way of the generic journey. And you're probably going to be out of business very soon. So you have to, there's no way out of building your strategy, your brand strategy, top to bottom. So again, what's the path to this in terms of strategy? Because the combination of channels that I showed in the previous slide is not written in stone. It's just an example of how you can align those channels. It depends on how you use it. Not that this channel is particular. Meant to do this. That's the way I use it for the example. It's going to go down to the creative strategy. It's going to go down to your particular audiences and your particular products and industries. So at the top of the funnel, you have to make them love you through the quality of the content. At the middle of the funnel, you have to make them love you through brand experience and user experience. And at the bottom of the funnel, you have to make them love you through the perceived value of the transaction they are missing. You have to make them feel that if they don't buy right now, they're going to miss the biggest opportunity of their life. And if those three elements are memorable enough, then you will have branded traffic. So you have to build that memorability, and that memorability is supported, as Michael said in the previous presentation, through magic and through creativity. Because if you do stuff that everybody's doing, people's not going to remember you, and you're never going to build the branded stream of traffic. So this is my last slide. I have 10 more seconds. I can't believe that I made it on time. This is awesome. What I would suggest for if you guys are working digital marketing and you never run your own business, or you try to sell yourself something, like put something there out there and try to sell, because that's what's going to give you the sense of how hard it is to actually make one single dollar online. It's super hard to get people that doesn't know you to buy from you. So if I was an employee for a very long time before I tried that, and my mindset and the way I think things changed the moment I start putting my own money behind it. So do it, test it, and then if you do that, you'll be in the top 5% of your discipline super fast, because nobody does it. So do it. go put your own money behind it. It have to be your entire savings, like I did. but go try it out. So this is pretty much it. Questions? Come on, guys. All right, then. Thank God.
Hi, my name is Veronica Herrera. I'm from cohort 2. Thank you so much for being here, and it was very insightful. I have a question about SEO and how to explain this funnel to your client, because usually when you think about digital marketing, everybody's just like, okay, I have the money, let's invest and make this happen as quick as possible. So how do you explain to your client how the time that it takes really to build a brand online, and what is like, obviously per brand is different, but what would be the average time investment that you would be like when you grab a new client, you tell them, okay, this is the median time that it'll take to do this project and do it right?
That is a very good question. The good thing for us in the digital marketing field is that there's a lot of public information. If you have the right tools and you pay the right licenses, some of them very expensive, some of them not that expensive, you can have a benchmark for performance. So if you have benchmarks for click-through rate, you have benchmarks for conversion rate, you have benchmarks for cost per thousand, for instance. If you combine them, you can forecast the performance you're going to have. Maybe you're going to have to commit to that performance, and you're going to have to put your wallet where your mouth is, right? I'm going to need $100,000 for this, but this is what I'm going to deliver at the end of the process. If you don't deliver, but you're going to start eroding your credibility, and you're not going to get the 100,000 next time, unless you have a very good explanation. And if you have all the KPIs on a dashboard, if you track them, you should be able to find explanation really quick. So, because not always everything happens as you plan it want to happen, but you have a plan. A plan, any plan is better than no plan, right? So you have that information, and you set yourself as an objective advisor. This is the money. We're going to invest $100,000 in this SEO initiative. You're going to take $75,000, 75% of them for content development. We're going to have 25% of that for content distribution, and that should get us like, I don't know, like 200,000 organic visits over the next year, and at a average cost per click of $1, that should equal to $200,000. So this initiative should have an ROI of 200%. So then you have to commit to that, right? But it takes the discussion to a whole different level. We are, of course, that to make great things in digital or on any discipline of marketing, you have to be willing to test and learn. And the more money you have, the more test and learn you can do. But the thing is that you have to put at least a goal on the table and commit to that goal. Okay? Go ahead. Oh, that she's ready.
Hi, Kirsten Alvarez from cohort 5. I wanted to know if you could share with us some of the website or tools that you use to acquire such data, for those of us that don't have access to it.
Sure. I can mention some of them, but I can share with Janine the list, the list of the tools that I use for this presentation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Will do. I will do it. Right here, my friend.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Aramboles, cohort 4. When you give us the overall brand value, if you were to look at the top leaders, the Amazons of the world, Apple, Google, etc., have you been able to find a trend as to what percentage to revenue that brand value is? No. Are they in a specific percentile?
No, because I just made up this approach 3 days ago. Okay. But that would be a correlation. A very interesting correlation to do, and then following weeks.
I was asking because it's my understanding that those type brands have an overall brand value of somewhere between 10 to 15% of their overall revenue. And I just wanted to gauge if that was accurate, if there was a way to find that information.
That's a very, very interesting question. I'm going to look into it.
If you find it, let's connect.
I'll share it with you because it's very, very interesting.
Thank you. Hello, sorry. Hi, I'm Alexis Dawson. I'm the Senior Social Media Manager for United Way. I have a question about SEO combining with social media. So I've been recently seeing a lot of Google AdWords and Facebook campaigns that should kind of start becoming integrated. Do you think there's ever going to be a point that, like, digitally overall, you think all of the keywords should be integrated into social and Google Analytics at the same time to drive more traffic, or is that just kind of like something coming up now?
You mean like using...
So like creating a campaign focused on Google AdWords and Facebook only, and then seeing that have more of a combination campaign, getting better results.
Yeah. For what I've seen in Latin America, because unfortunately the only client that I have and that I am involved with in US is Latam Airlines. In Latin America, the effectiveness of each of the Facebook on one side and Google on the other side varies heavily from one country to another and from one industry to another.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, having those two integrated, you have to do it, but you have to do it on your own because they are not going to integrate themselves.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to do it through tagging your campaign, through cookies, through pixels, and figure out how you want to track that afterwards on your analytics.
And that would be through the Facebook pixels.
Facebook pixels, Google cookies, but that's, you're going to have to do it on your own.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Great insight.
My pleasure.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I'm from Cohort 1. I actually really liked your presentation, and I've seen one that you've done before. And there's one thing that you didn't mention in this presentation that I wish I could have asked from the last one you did, and it's regarding cost per acquisition. So right now you said something about you can't do better if you can't measure something, right? And you had forecasted for benchmarking cost per acquisition in the last topic that you did. So I work for a company that's in the medical space that right now they're having trouble reaching people digitally, mostly because of HIPAA. So I don't have a historical basis to be able to do a linear regression and project into the future. So could you give me maybe a hint or a nudge as to how you would benchmark or forecast a cost per acquisition for someone that doesn't have that history?
That's a very good question, and that's exactly where I stand almost every single day in my life. Because most of the clients don't share, if for instance, you are pitching a business and we want to use this forecasting methodology to win that business, we are exactly in the same place that you are. And you use one of these tools to, for instance, you can use emarketer.com to figure out, I'm going to share write it down, emarketer.com, then you have all the benchmark for anything. Click-through rate for display campaign, conversion rate for social media campaign, average reach for Snapchat in Mexico, all the information is there. So you use your common sense to put that together. If the average conversion rate is 1.5% for that category, you are not going to use 4% or 5% to forecast your results, right? Because then you're going to look really, really bad. So you try to stress your metrics until the point that it makes sense from the financial point of view. If it doesn't make sense, you have to make clear, this is not going to make sense for the first 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years, because eventually we're going to get the profit, but we're going to be losing money until we grow the customer value, lifetime value, for instance. That's the way you build profits over time. But the data is there. You can get traffic sources. You can look, for instance, using SimilarWeb. You can try even the free version. You can look at the marketing channels for similar players, and you can infer from there what their performance is, and you can use that data even though you don't have a history. You can use it. Of course, that ideally we should have enough data to do predictive models, but that's a sophistication level that even for the big companies that I've been fortunate enough to work for, that they don't have that kind of sophistication most of the time. For some specific stuff, we can predict results, but But that's not a very common thing to have that kind of sophisticated modeling, not even attribution models.
Thank you so much, Hector. Give a round of applause to Hector.